Welcome to the RC Roundtable podcast, where we discuss the latest RC hobby news, events, model reviews, and a whole lot more.
Yes, your sound works.
Thought we were miming this episode.
Yeah.
Welcome to the audio listeners.
Monty Python skit where they're using flags instead of talking. There's a term for it. I forgot. I always forget what it's called.
Semaphores?
Semaphores. That's it. Thank you. Semaphores. Yeah. So this is the RC Roundtable, episode 208, brought to you in semaphores.
Yeah. I think we need to take a mulligan on this one. Good.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome, Lee, Mr. Mulligan, Terry. How you guys doing?
Hi. Doing excellent.
How am I Mr. Mulligan? How did I get labeled that?
No, Terry's Mr. Mulligan. I just said Mr. Mulligan first. Mr. Mulligan, Terry.
You're Mr. Magoo. No. Sorry, that was a low blow.
Remember that cartoon?
Yeah, right. That was one of my favorites when I was a kid. I don't know why.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It was so stupid, but it was funny, I guess, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, and Leslie Nielsen made a live action version apparently that I never saw.
Huh. All right.
Yeah,
Put that on my Amazon list.
Not.
Hey,
but anyways,
speaking of stuff on, is it Amazon? Yeah, I think it's on Amazon. There's a show called First to Fly or First to Flight, something like that. It's about the progression of aviation technology, starting with Pioneer era stuff, hosted by Neil frickin' Armstrong.
Really?
So apparently it was a show in the early 90s, and now it's back on Amazon. I stumbled across it the other day. And
well, when you say Amazon, you mean Prime Video.
Amazon Prime Video, yeah.
Okay, well, that's what it's called. It's Prime Video.
I actually have
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Really? So First to Fly or something like that, you said?
Yeah, First to Flight, First to Fly, or something like that.
Interesting. Got
Yeah.
pretty good production values despite being 30 years old.
It looks like it's recorded on VHS cameras. I mean, but it starts. Yeah, the first couple episodes are actually at Rhinebeck Aerodrome and talks about flying their really old stuff. So yeah, I found it interesting. So not brand new, not snazzy production value and CGI, but it's interesting.
I found an Amazon Prime Video. Is that right, Lee? Whatever. It actually has quite an interesting, good, eclectic library of stuff. If you're into history and all kinds of weird stuff, you'd be surprised what pops up on there. I found some really neat stuff. And
if you watch one documentary, then you change the algorithm, they all pop up.
Yeah. That's. I think I was on Prime Video. That's already clunky. Prime
The marketing team needs to fix that.
Yeah, APV. Yeah. Versus Predator. Had that show I was telling you about, Warbird Workshop, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, I watched that too.
Yeah, it was on there as well. That was pretty cool. They had a few other stuff that pops up that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Aircraft and whatnot.
Isn't that where they had the movie with our buddy, was his name Mark Thompson, who made the thing about RC in Connecticut? He was a guest on our show.
Yes, that was on, I think that was on Amazon, yes.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it's neat stuff out there.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right. So what's on the agenda today?
Lee just wants to sit there and smile, look pretty.
The Cheshire Cat there.
Yeah, look at that. He will speak before this is over.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Oh, yes, he will.
He's polishing the soapbox as we speak.
All right. Well, we do have a few things to talk about. I don't know if you want to go chronologically or stream of consciousness, but you tell me.
I don't know chronologically. Do we want to talk about any new products this time, or we just want to jump right into all the stuff we've been doing the past several weeks?
You okay there? You need a Tums?
Yeah, sorry. Something
Alka-Seltzer?
Something that went down, trying to come back up again. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't know what the stuff, how it falls chronologically either. I know there is some new stuff. Oh, we can take a peek if you want and go and raw dog it.
Sure, let's take a quick look. And that's not what raw dog means.
Is that it? Well, we have a title for the episode then.
I think our buddy Sparky was using it wrong too the other month. I was like, Sparky, that's not what that means.
Yeah, if you guys want to send us your definitions of raw dogging it, contact at rcroundtable.com. No photos, please.
Yeah, no photos, definitely.
Jeez. Wait, are you guys drinking? This show is
Well, I did have
take
this
a little dive.
Oreo flavored Coke Zero that I
Okay.
picked up.
What's the
So maybe
alcohol
that's-
content? 80 proof?
Apparently so, yeah. It's extra Oreo sugar or something. I don't know.
Did you get that in Japan?
No, I was here at the local Quickie Mart somewhere. I
All right.
see it. No, Japan has better flavors. Melon. Oh, the melon soda there. It's fantastic. Anyways.
Yeah. Okay. So
right.
what new product are we looking at here?
Anybody got anything?
You,
I guess not. Well, never mind then.
you mentioned
got
one
none.
before we started recording, but okay. 'cause
If we had a
there's
producer.
yeah, he is strangely silent tonight. Look at him.
Yes.
I am watching the mayhem from my seat. You guys are just taking this show for a wild ride. I hope we still have listeners hanging on going, it's going to get funny, right? It's going to get better. We're going to talk about RC stuff eventually.
Yeah, some new
And
stuff was
that's-
announced.
and-
Just use your imagination.
Okay, so see, now here's them talking about the producer being at fault here. They mentioned 2 planes before the show. They didn't tell me which plane to decide on. So I'm looking at my screen, waiting for them to decide so I can show that for our viewers and
Surprise
talk
us.
about it with our listeners.
Just
No,
surprise
I'm
us.
just gonna-
Pick one.
I'm going to pick one?
Yes.
All right.
Pick the
Producer's
pick
discretion.
The newest one.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
I'll
I'm
tell you
picking
why.
the newest one. Okay,
Yeah.
see, that wasn't how I worked it. Fitz told me to pick one. I did. Now I have to go backwards and pick the newest one because
blindsided by Terry.
Terry came in and totally blew things off the rail.
Pick
So,
whatever Terry wants.
Here we go. I will give you the following. This is what Terry picked. All right, which one do you want? Do you want the bind and fly or the plug and play?
Plug and play.
All right.
All right. So for those listening, maybe we should describe what we are picking. It's an airplane. All right.
All right, we're good. Let's move on.
Okay. On that word. So we have the P-51, and a new one from folks at Horizon. This one, as I remember correctly, is like 1.1 meter. If I remember correctly?
Yeah. No, it's just one.
1.0.
Oh, 1.0. 1.0.
Yeah,
So,
didn't quite
1,000
make the
millimeters.
1.2 of their standard, part
Yeah,
flyer aircraft.
that's the first thing I noticed. It was sort of
And
in
it's a
between.
Well, yeah, it's like super UMX, right?
Yeah. Super
And I'm looking at it
SUMX.
thinking that they actually made it a 1.2 or something, but it's not. It's just 1.0. And
Yeah.
let me I hate those little things. May I help you? It's like Clippy. Horizon's got to get rid of their little Clippy. I see you want to order something. Can I help you with that? I think you want batteries for your airplane.
It's an interesting paint scheme. It's got semi-invasion stripes. It's on the fuselage, but not on the wings. Or just on the bottom. Oh, they're on the bottom. Okay. So what is it? So green and silver.
So 3 or 4S, 1300 to 2200,
That's nice.
using EC3. So FYI, it's got an EC3 connector in it. FYI for those people who are Dean's users.
Yeah,
Well,
which is fine.
Yeah, everything Horizon has EC something, right?
No, they still have some stuff that's Dean, believe it or not.
So they're digital
Every once in a while.
metal gear servos.
No, that's nice. For
30 amp
a
controller.
short one,
Fixed landing gear, no flaps.
Let me pull through some of the photos. back up here.
Correct. When I saw it, it's fixed landing gear that you can plug in, unplug.
Okay.
Of course, the usual AS3X safe mode stuff. Right?
Yeah.
A
So
little
I'm going to be
tailwheel.
just nitpicky, a little snarky here. It's obviously a P-51, but it's just not perfect to the 3 view. It's good. It's unmistakably what it should look
What do you
like,
think?
but
What do you think is off?
like the vertical stab is a little fatter than I would expect. The canopy is not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't describe how the canopy is off, but
It looks okay, but I can see what you say about the vertical. They may have done that on purpose for better stability at the small scale.
yeah, just cheating it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think most people who aren't snobs would be just fine with it. But so many of the new ones, and even Horizon's other stuff, is so precise to the scale outline. This one kind of jumps out at me as just being a little off.
I wonder if it's a different vendor or factory that did it or something.
Yeah. They got the old GWS molds.
Yeah. Was it precious? Is that what it says? Got a little glare on my screen. Yeah.
My precious. No, ferocious.
It's ferocious.
Oh, ferocious. Sorry. Well, like I said, it's hard to see it.
I just like Fitz thinking it's my precious. He's got the little Lord of the Rings theme going on the P-51.
The official, what was his name? Not Golem. What was his name?
Oh, wasn't it Gollum?
Was it Gollum?
Yeah.
Oh, Gollum. Yeah, the official plane of Gollum. So ferocious.
That would be the great profile photo on the side.
Yeah.
The little nose art decal of him.
Instead of a pinup girl, you get a pinup Golem.
All right. So this is supposed to be a cheaper version to the bigger 1.2 Full House thing. So it's $199.99.
That's the bind and fly version?
That's the plug and play. The bind and fly, I
plug
think,
and play.
is what, $20 cheaper? Let's go back and see. Oh no, I'm wrong.
More,
Bind and fly. All right, I'm going to start over here. Plug and play is $199.99. Bind and fly, which I think the only difference is bind and fly includes the receiver, is another $30 at $229.99.
Okay.
Now, and that being said, I'm assuming that one has safe and AS3X.
It says AS3X Plus and Safe Select.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
So there you go. Yep.
So pre-order now. Does it say when they'll be ready? Next shipment January of 2025. So you got a couple months to wait.
Yeah. It's interesting to announce it this early.
Yeah. So, all right. Any sage wisdom to share about this thing?
Don't know. I imagine hopefully it'd be popular. I imagine if it's got a great price point, a little bigger, easier to see. You can run your old 2200s in it.
3S or 4S.
Yeah, 3 to 4S.
Which
That's nice.
means
You get dual.
4S.
Yeah. It'd be 4S and rip the rings off.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the P-51's going to sell. People are going to like it. And it's probably going to fly well. So, yeah. What else can you say about a P-51?
It's a P-51. Classic airframe.
Put a Merlin in it. Good to go.
There you go, yes.
Do they sell? Do you know of any planes that sell now that have audio boxes built in, sound boxes?
I'm not aware of any. That kind of came and went, right? It's not nearly as big as it tried to be 7 or 8 years ago.
But I don't know of any plane that may have come with it stock, so always it's been a third-party adapter. And I remember the first time I saw one, it was at Best with a gentleman steerman. And it was pretty good because I think, what are they, is it transducer? Is that what you call it when you actually attach it to the aircraft and have the aircraft vibrating?
Yeah.
So
I thought that was, most of the ones I've seen were speakers. Maybe the later ones are
Well,
transducers.
yeah, the early versions were tiny speakers, and then they used transducers where the airframe effectively became the speaker. But they're neat, and there's lots of cool stuff you can do with them. I did one in a boat, actually, and that worked well. But if there's any sort of internal combustion airplane also flying at the same time, forget it. You're not going to hear that sound system.
Yeah.
I'm going to put like a V8 Chevy sound coming out of my P-51 just to make all the Merlin people mad. Just have it sound totally different.
Speaking of transducers, years ago I made a machine gun sound module for one of my planes. And it was literally a solenoid beating on a piece of wood inside the plane because just the percussion of it. And it worked fairly well, actually. I don't know what I did with it. Maybe it's still in the plane or not, but I thought it, again, if it was glow people flying around, you probably wouldn't hear it, but if it was an electric meat, it was fairly noticeable.
Cool.
So guys, let us know if you're using any sound boxes.
Yeah, I'm curious if anybody's done that. Yeah. Somebody
so
had a nice
great.
one at one of the best. It had a whole startup sequence, and then I think it was like in a Focke-Wulf or something. And if you remember that, Lee? Does that sound familiar?
No, I just remember the big biplane. But I'd like to have the sound coming from Raiders of the Lost Ark. The startup at the beginning. Start the engine, Jacques, and it makes that peer sound. I want mine to sound like that plane. Big fat radial.
That's a dynamo. Okay.
That's great. Put a radial sound coming out of your jet. Just mess things up.
That's the movie Airplane, right? When the airplane sound was the jet going. It took me several watchings to realize that. Say, hey, wait a minute, that's not how a jet sounds.
It sounded like a B-17.
Yeah. Well, okie doke. I think we said all we can say about that, I suppose. Shall we get on to the main stuff?
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so I'm going to start off then. In episode 207, we talked about the indoor event that was about to happen up here in Green Bay. It has happened, and everything went very well. It happened. I'm not going to get into too many details because earlier this week, I had another recording session with the boys over at RC Plane Lab, and we talked about the episode then.
Terry, you ignorant slut.
And the reason we did is because, you got my photos. Thank you. The reason we did that is because Ron Hull from Plane Lab, he came up here for the weekend, and he participated in the event.
Okay, so if you want to hear about the event, stop listening here and go tune into RC Plane Lab, and then hear Terry go on and on about his indoor flying event.
Yeah. So, we did cover it in a decent amount of detail. We did not do the photos because, they don't do video on their podcast. So we do have the bonus of audio and video here.
Flare,
all right, so there's my hot wire cut plane there that we were talking about in the last show. Was it going to perform well inside? And
come on, give us the data dump. What's it still means? How did it fly?
It flies very well. There were actually two of them there. And we were flying formation sometimes, and they did fine. Nice and slow, no trouble keeping within the confines of the building. So we had a good time with it. And it actually did a couple loops inside the building. So it worked out well. Yeah.
Anything you might change on it, or are you just going to leave it just like it is?
I think for mine, I might put a bigger rudder on it just to get a little bit more yaw response. It's fine outside, but sometimes when I was trying to just crank it over inside, it wasn't as much authority as I wanted. But,
just tape a credit card to the back.
Or I could do that, So, I put it on a watt meter the other day. It was like 5 amps, and I forget what it was, 50-something watts. So it still works out pretty good power-wise, being a 7-ounce airplane. It's over 100 watts per pound. So it works just fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Good work, Smithers.
Yeah. So are we just going through the photos here?
I am. Don't just tell me to stop or go back.
Okay. Yeah, just keep moving. Oh, this is an interesting one.
Yeah. Is that ducted fan in there?
It is. My friend Ryan Bollig, who lives down in the Madison area, he came up, and he's an excellent builder. We might see some more of his stuff in here too. But he took...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, he took an impeller from one of the mini quads, like an Inductrix, and then he built a shroud around it, so effectively made it a ducted fan, and then just built this simple little balsa plane to use that fan, and it flew really well.
Yeah, interesting sort of pod and boom with a really undercabered airfoil.
Yep. So
what's that sticking out the nose?
Battery.
Is that the battery? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. 1S battery. 1C.
Does he need the CG?
Yeah, I assume that's what it is. I'll have to see if I have any more close-ups of it. But a lot of neat stuff there. So keep on going, Lee.
Yes, boss.
So a neat little champ that put on skis, homemade skis, and it worked really well on the AstroTurf. So that was one thing. The smallest one-cell planes, those tiny wheels sometimes had trouble on the AstroTurf. So there was a little bit of a buffer on the side that was a rubbery kind of floor. You could do that or put down cardboard, something like that. but this plane with the skis worked fine. Or you could hand lunge. So, but anything like the 2-cell UMX stuff had no problem on the AstroTurf. So, yeah, it worked out all right.
Cool.
Yeah. So this plane is called a Mini Drake, and it's a kit that was made by Zeke Brubaker of Park Scale Models several years back, and it's ultra micro size. Wingspan's probably like 23 inches, something like that. But this one was built by my buddy Tony in Sheboygan, and it's hard to tell here, but the covering job is just fantastic on it. It's got great details and good colors and a 3D printed radial engine on there.
That was my next question.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can see he was trying to take off from the AstroTurf, but with the high thrust line, it was trying to nose over a little bit. He did get it to go, but I caught this image at one of the points where he was trying to nose over.
Yeah, it doesn't look too good.
Yeah, but it did fine, and it flies great, and it looks really good. And he also flew that off the pond behind my house, so we'll talk about that later.
So, how was the space in there for flying? What do you think?
Well, as expected, I mentioned here that it was huge. It's basically half of a football field inside of a building, and it's like the trash compactor in Star Wars. When you launch your plane, the walls just start moving in.
Got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. So there was some stuff that I was originally going to fly there that I didn't, like my UMX Parallax. Actually, I did fly it in there. We went the night before and did setup, and we also took a couple planes to try out. And after flying the Parallax in there that night, I'm like, you know what? With other planes flying at the same time, this is probably not going to be any fun. So I left that one at home. But just about everything else was fine there. So, yeah, not too many restrictions. All right. And here, sorry. That was just a UMX B-17 and a Champ that I think was built from a Gillows kit. Also, these are Ryan Bollig's planes. And go next. This is a Fokker D7.
Yeah.
And I believe it was from the Hair kit. Her Hair.
Really nice. Is that Swiss marking on it?
Yes, Fokker D7 with Swiss markings. And if I remember correctly, Ryan said he built this a long time ago, like 20 years ago, with the first generation brushless stuff in it. And he flew it once and it was too heavy. I think maybe it had NICADs in it. And so he put it on the shelf. And then more recently, he got it back down and put more modern, lightweight stuff in it. And he flew it, and it was much better with the lighter weight.
Yeah.
So, but it's really good. Yeah, these photos don't really show you the quality of his builds, but he's really a good builder on the small stuff. So, all right, keep it going, Lee. Just a random collection of foamies and odds and ends here. You can see the rubbery floor that goes around the outside there.
Ah.
Yeah. And there's Ryan, and that's a Pete and Pull model that had a nice scale Model A engine on it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so this one was Balta, I believe. What is that? That's the 310? The UMX number? I don't remember if I saw this stuff before.
Terry, I've lost your audio.
Yeah, I hear it, but it sounds like you're underwater.
Really?
No, now you're back.
Now you're back.
Weird.
I could barely hear you.
All right, so I'm not going to repeat what I said before. We'll just keep moving.
But I'm sure it was glorious.
It was.
It's like a flat foam Cessna 310, maybe? And
I think so, yeah.
Another
timber of some flavor.
Yeah, a little UMX timber.
Yep. And this Democell? Yeah, there were two of them there. And this one, I believe, was Ryan's that was built from plans in a magazine. And you can see it's got a 3D printed fuel tank up top and some 3D printed engine details and wire spoke wheels. Yeah. And it flew really nice.
It looks like it's very light.
Yeah. And I believe the covering he used was like a dollar store tablecloth stretched over it and glued into place. Yeah. And he 3D printed, how the tail on a Democell is kind of like a U-joint. It's one, like a ball joint.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He 3D printed like a universal joint for the tail surfaces. Really neat stuff.
Yeah.
And this is the Peton pole, I believe. And he printed his own decals to go on the back. And you can see bollig flying surfaces. Slow, surly, and unreliable.
Yeah, I saw this. Like, did it really say that?
Yeah, so it looks like it belongs there. So unless you take the time to actually read the thing, the joke just goes right over your head.
That's great.
Yeah, looks good. And there's his Demicel end flight. Yeah.
Lee, you remember we saw the 1-to-1 scale RC model at Journal?
You did. I wasn't there, but you saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was working on a plane in the trailer. You were out there enjoying the show, I heard.
Yeah, somebody had a full scale, 1-to-1 scale Demicel that was rail controlled.
Oh, nice.
And it flew like at walking speed. And he did fly it. He had to fly it in really calm weather, but it flew. It was pretty remarkable. It's a really small plane.
I was going to say they weren't big airplanes.
No.
And they were pretty sporty for their time. All right, so this is some flat foamy doing aerobatics and stuff.
Well, I was going to interject here. Fitz, is this the same company that makes the plane that you were reviewing? I can't tell.
This looks different. No.
Okay.
No, this is something else. Click. No, I don't think so. It doesn't look familiar.
It's the Champ S Plus on floats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Skis, not floats.
Okay. Skis.
Well, all right. You put that on the lake, you're going to be disappointed really fast.
Unless you're going fast. Unless you're going fast, though, you can skip along there.
Yeah, there's Ryan's Fokker. All right, this is the other Demicel. This is Tony Lewis's. You can see the differences. And I know he told me. He told me, and I forgot what it was.
I think I have one. It sounded familiar. There's somebody makes a Demicel that was. I don't know if it was.
Well,
her
Sig made one. Sig made one.
Yeah.
That was pretty big. And this might be the Sig, but I just can't remember. But Tony is also a very excellent builder. And you can see the quality.
Interesting. It looks like it has leading edge extensions on the outer wings.
They both do. That's a skill feature. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the correct profile of the wing. And this little flying wing that was zooming around in there, hugging the walls.
And some stims.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier or in the last show, that we would have simulators set up for people that wanted to come over from the craft show that was going on next door and try out the thing. So we had kids get on the simulators. We gave a bunch of buddy box flights on a Vapor. And we got a few people their first experience with RC.
That's nice. So you think you got a bunch of stragglers from the craft show?
Yeah, so one of the guys in our club bit the bullet and paid to have a table at the craft show, which wasn't insignificant. They got paid. So we had a table over there with some RC models and some info sheets, things like that, and somebody sitting there. And we were just saying, hey, if you want to, if you're interested, pretty much. Like walk next door and you can see them flying right now and you can try the simulators, blah, blah, blah. And so I do think we got some foot traffic from that. Probably tempered a little bit because it was a rainy, crummy day outside and people had to go outside to get over to that gymnasium.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but I do know we got some walk-in traffic.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
All right, keep going.
That's it.
That was it. Okay. So that was it.
Stop right there. I'm having error messages on my screen about my feed. Are you guys seeing anything change with me, like my quality? Can you see everything behind me?
You look fine. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it looks just like you.
I mean, it just keeps saying your internet connection's poor. And
I'd prefer you to be pixelated a little bit, but you look HD to me. Ooh, that snarl.
All right, I'm just giving you a heads up.
You're just fine. Ignore the message.
It's just I'm shutting down things on my computer thinking that's it, but it just keeps giving me a warning message.
Huh. I think the question is, what is your family doing on the internet right now?
I don't know. All right, I don't know. Okay, so do your summary.
Indoor flying, good. We do want to try to get back there to have events like this recurring. Probably that coincide with the craft fair, which is once a year, but also maybe more throughout the year. And we want to be involved with the school, trying to do some STEM activities to lend our expertise on things, to do some community outreach and make ourselves useful. So,
Get some new members.
So you think you had pretty good attendance?
I think so. Again, I think the weather probably kept some people away because the weather all across Wisconsin was just really crummy that day.
Oh, just a bad day. Huh?
Yeah. So I think, I don't remember the numbers, but we had some people that signed in, some people that didn't. And then again, we had the traffic walking through. So it never felt quiet. There were always several planes in the air. And so the flight line was active the whole time. No blood was shed. And I don't think there was any carnage either. Well, I take that back. There were a couple mid-airs that somebody came out on the losing end of. But
you think they would just bounce off?
no, there was damage. But tempers did not flare. So
that's good.
Yeah. I think most people understood you take your chances.
Did somebody bring in a rubber band power plane?
No. Somebody mentioned that they were coming, but I didn't see them. So maybe next time.
Yeah, next time. That's good. Yeah, take your own.
Yeah.
Piss them off, make an RC powered rubber band.
RC assist.
RC assist rubber band power plane.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it seems like it worked out really well to you. Had a good time and seems like a good venue.
Yeah, thanks.
That's nice.
Yep,
I think.
Indeed.
What was, now you had it, so this is November. Is that, do you guys have snow up there yet? Or what's the weather like outside?
No. It was in the 50s today. And I mean, knocking on wood, I don't think we'll get snow for, not till December at least. So I was out raking leaves in my yard earlier today.
So you want to continue to have it the same day as a craft show, or do you want to put it more more towards the middle of winter when nobody can fly outside, unless they want to freeze their buns off?
Yes. So again, I don't necessarily want to do one event annually. Maybe we can still do this one every year because there is a benefit to having the big crowd next door that we can try to siphon people off that might be interested. But also, in the dead of winter when there's nothing else going on, it would be nice to have a place to go fly our little toys.
If you market it right, you put signs out in the craft show that say, "Do you have kids under the age of 16? Are they bored? Would you like them to fly some airplanes while you do shopping? Head on over."
Is your husband bored out of his mind?
Is your husband bored? Is he tired of carrying your bags? Do you want to hang out with the girls?
Yeah, I manned the table at the craft fair for a little while. And I do remember a husband and wife walking through, and you can see the husband turn and see the stuff on the table. And the wife goes, keep walking, keep walking.
Oh, man. Blocked.
Again, you're missing a golden opportunity there, man, to release the husbands.
Denied.
So we'll, again, this was the first time through. We'll strategize and get our lessons learned and make it better next time.
Well, cool beans.
Bigger, better, faster, stronger. So that was on Sunday. On Saturday, I had a few friends over and we played with our dinghies. So I'm unofficially calling it Terry's Fantastic Flotilla of Fun. We put some boats on the pond behind her. We had either just taken the docks out of the water or we were about to. So we put the dock back in and had it.
Put the dock back in. Put the dock back in.
Enough people.
We can do it with like 4 people because it's on wheels. So it wasn't a big deal. But, Ron was here already. So we had all day to hang out and some other friends came over and brought their boats and we just had a good old time. And probably our favorite thing was I made some buoys out of pool noodles and some scrap copper pipe that I had and set up 3 buoys as a race course. And I have these, I brought one up here. Stand by. These simple little boats. These are called, this is a Zigzag 3. There's another one that's almost exactly the same called the Zigzag 2. Was there a Zigzag 1? Probably, but I don't think I've seen one.
The prototype.
But they're just a simple beginner-oriented boat that Horizon put out. Hobbyco also had one that's almost exactly the same called the Reef Racer.
It looks like a shuttlecraft from Star Trek or something.
Yeah, and the idea is if you flip it upside down, it's so buoyant like this, it'll right itself and turn over. But let's see, it's held on with a rubber band. But, you can't see the inside. It's just a simple direct drive, propellers on the bottom, a rudder here. Interestingly, a 6-volt speed 400 that powers it. And I did some testing to figure that out. Originally used a 6-cell NICAD, 2/3 A size. I converted mine to use a 2-cell lithium-ion, 18650 cell. And these things are crazy fun. They're not terribly fast, but they're reasonably fast, but they are so maneuverable. They break the laws of physics when they turn. They change directions so fast. So I had 3 of these, and we did basically stock racing and just handed the transmitters around, and 3 people at a time could race around the course. And we came up with different ways to go around the buoys and all that. And we just had a ball. And this is, I guess, ABS plastic and tough. We had some full speed broadside collisions. No damage was done. So it was just simple, silly fun with no stress because you weren't worried that anything was going to break. And everybody was equally matched. It didn't matter which boat you got. You were going to have the same performance as everybody else. And these silly batteries, I think the capacity is advertised at like 2,500 milliamp hours. They just kept going and going and going like an Energizer. I don't know how many minutes we put on each one, but I think I charged each of them once throughout the day, and we put in lots of runs. So it really worked out great. And I've got some video here of one of the racing things. So let me see if I can share that real quick.
Battery, is it like a 2S2200 you have in there? Or what?
It's a 2-cell 18650 size lithium-ion. Yeah. So side by side, and it fits right in this little battery compartment here that's made for the NICADs, and it fits that. Interestingly, the earlier version, the Zigzag 2, this compartment is a little bit narrower, and it won't quite fit the 18650. So I had to Dremel out the sides to let it fit in, but other than that. So the only real modifications I made were to add an XT30 connector and then these Velcro straps. So originally it was a rubber band going across there, and that's just cheesy. And that's kind of it. And it comes with a 27 megahertz pistol grip radio, and there are 6 different frequencies available. So I have a mixture of those. And I got something greasy on my fingers from this boat. So yeah, it works great. On one of them, the radio was dead, so I did a 2.4 gigahertz conversion, and that worked fine too. I just pulled the innards out of a 18th scale buggy, which had an integrated receiver and speed control. Interestingly, that buggy used a Speed 400 size motor too, so it was just a direct swap. So I'm going to try to present here and share screen. Yeah.
So the 18s, 650s have variable capacities, but they hover around 3,000 milliamp hours, plus or minus a few.
Yeah. So what I found recently is that there's some new generation 18650 cells that have high discharge, like up to 35 amps.
Oh.
And so I think these are in the 20 amp range, which is fine for what we're doing. But yeah, it's they seem to be working well so far at that discharge rate. So more to come on that. Let's see, where's my window? You're going to have to coach me through this again because I can... Oh, there it is. All right, so can you guys see my video?
Negative.
Negative
Goes right.
All right, sure. There we go. Now can you see it?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, let's see if it plays all right. So there's 3 of the boats on there. See, going around the buoys. We did it sort of like barrel racing. We go outside of 2 of the buoys and then like a 270 around the 3rd one, just to make it interesting.
Yeah, turn on a dime, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
You're doing a figure 8? Oh, no, it's not figure 8.
Yeah. Well, sort of. At that buoy there, the paths do cross.
Oh, they do? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
figure 8.
It got interesting at times.
There's 3 buoys. I missed that part. I thought it was 2. That's what threw me off.
Anyways,
That's great.
Yeah, there's 3.
Yeah. A triangle.
Yeah. Originally, we had that third buoy kind of further out. And then we decided the boats just aren't fast enough to make that part interesting. So we brought that third one in a little bit. And so it's short track stuff. And we had such a good time with it. Lots of giggles and laughing.
That's really imagine how interesting NASCAR would be if they had a figure 8 like that.
Right. Well, they do that, right? They have figure 8 racing with like RVs and other stuff. Yeah. Demolition derby type stuff. Yeah. Yeah. School buses. You're right. So one of my boats, the green one you saw in there, it had a couple breakdowns that day. And basically the little coupler that turns the shaft is just a press fit on the motor shaft. And that broke loose a couple times. I got it going, but it impressed upon me that I need to have some spare boats and some spare parts. And then I mentioned that out loud. And next thing you know, Ron is holding his phone in my face saying, here's a lot of them on eBay. So I ended up a dozen of them.
Really? Wow.
So that is not
one order, like one lot of 12.
One lot of 12, yeah.
Wow.
So that's now in my basement. And it's not, and what I found out when they got here, it was 12 radios, but it wasn't 12 radios that matched 12 boats. So it wasn't like 12. So I'm sorting through it and finding things that I need. But yeah, I'm going to have the parts I need. And I guess we can do up to 5 or 6 at a time. Maybe more than that is just going to be mayhem. But
that's the point?
Mayhem sounds great.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of the driver for my
so maybe that's
tonight.
It. Terry's terrific flotilla of mayhem.
The TFFF.
Doesn't have the same letters of the whatever you call it, but I like that it's Terry's and it's mayhem. Got to keep those 2 words in there.
Or we could keep flotilla of Flotsam.
Okay.
No,
whatever you want to name it, that's fine.
All right, so that's the driver behind my screen named Captain Crunch. There was lots of nerfing going on, but we had a good time. Interestingly, so you guys have tried the sailboats. I know whenever I put the controller for the Dragon Force in your hands, it's hard to wrestle it back. Something about that boat, everybody loves it. And so same thing, I passed the transmitter for the Dragon Force 65 around. Ron got his first taste of sailing. Aaron got his first taste of sailing. And then I have a different sailboat, the Pro Boat Westward, which is considerably smaller. And the conditions were probably too rough for it. But I gave the control of that to Ron, and he had trouble getting it back upwind. And next thing you know, it's keeling over, like way down, and the hatch is not sealed. And oh, do I have that video? Oh, I don't have it on here. I've got video of it pointing straight up in the air with the nose, like the Titanic.
Oh, no.
So it didn't go under. There must have been a pocket of air stuck in there. So it got like that, and it stayed there for a while, long enough for somebody to go out in the dinghy and retrieve it. But for a second there, we're like, oh, she's going down. But, so yeah, it was fun. Lots of interesting stuff here. Some airplanes, some boats, lots of classic boats. So it was a fun day.
That was great.
Yeah. So when you guys come back up next year for AirVenture and we add on our day, our extra fun day, we'll plan a fantastic flotilla of mayhem on the pond.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
So you can't just call it flotilla, though. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, it's got to be. Well, I mean, you are floating planes, but you're doing planes. See, Fitz can't do planes. I mean, I guess I could do planes if I request a Lance approval.
Oh.
You could probably do UMX, right? UMX stuff?
No, no, you can't do UMX in controlled airspace.
Really?
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Wait.
FAA does not like that.
Oh, you're talking about your house is in controlled airspace?
No, his flotilla.
Yeah.
Ellington Field.
You're right next to Ellington.
Right off the end of the runway.
Yeah. I think the statute of limitations is probably expired by now, but before all of this stuff was a big deal, I had flown float planes off that pond before.
Well, and so did Austin.
Yeah. I had the original park zone was at 1.2 meter on floats flying off of there and other stuff. Yeah.
Good size plane.
In hindsight, probably not the best idea, but it all worked out okay.
But you never felt like you were a threat to the airspace, right?
No.
No, of course not. So it's like, I don't get it. I think the problem is they know people are trying to fly the sub 250 gram drones in controlled airspace, and that's the no-no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because airplanes are a problem.
Yeah.
Did I tell you guys I finally got one of those Dragonflight 95s?
Dragon Force.
It's just Dragonflight
sailboat?
on the side.
It's
Yeah,
just
sailboat.
Dragon Force.
Well, I guess Dragon Force. Yeah.
Yes, you mentioned that, I think.
Yeah.
but you
I haven't
got-
sailed it yet.
Yours is a 95?
Yeah, 95, the bigger one.
Okay.
The one I've been looking
Cool.
for. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Finally.
Steve has one. My neighbor Steve has one.
Oh, yeah? I've sailed one before. Really nice. Really, that's why I wanted one, because it was such a nice handle.
I'm happy. I'm happy with my sailboat.
I forgot what yours is.
You know what? My brain just fried. What is that, Fitz?
You can just turn around.
It's I can't. It's way back there. That was
You're closer than any of us.
That was no. It's not. There's no name on it. It's the Thunder Tiger series. Golly.
Victoria?
Victoria. I guess
There you go.
something.
Tell him what he's won, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but I have two of them. I got rid of my dragon
Oh, really?
Right.
You got rid of your dragon?
at Perry.
What?
Yeah.
What? Sacrilege.
It is okay, but these float better with wind or no wind.
Add on to that, I just found out there's a group of guys that raced down here. I saw them this past Saturday. Well, just the end they were running, but right here down in the Clear Lake area, there's a bunch of guys that run those Dragon Force 95s. Apparently,
All right.
they've been super secret about it or something, but they actually have a Facebook page. It turns out, and there's a little birdie told me, he said, "Hey, they're running these boats down there." That they are, and I go, "There's a bunch of guys." Like, how long have you guys been doing this?
Well, I can tell you the feedback has been unanimous. Every time
Yeah?
I give the Dragon Force controller to anybody who's never run a sailboat, they're like, oh, this is way more fun than I thought it would be.
It is. It's a nice little boat. Yeah, I liked it too.
So, yeah, and the comparison I always make is my brain said the same thing for that and rock crawlers. They're slow, right? Boring. But there really is, for both those activities, a skill and a challenge to do it well. And it becomes obvious right away.
I found out there's an indoor rock crawling track next town over as well, right behind Samanos, Lee. In those places, there's an indoor rock crawling and drifting track, and it's pretty neat. And they have these rocks all around the perimeter. You can go over doors and stuff. It's kind of neat. But anyways, was that?
Austin's into rock crawling now. His roommate is heavy into it, and Austin acquired one of his smaller ones, and now they do that almost every weekend.
Really?
It looked like he had some sort of rock crawling course set up in his dorm. Or is that just...
And he was rock crawling 747s around at Deland,
Yeah,
or at least trying.
we'll get
That
to
plane
that.
was a little heavier than his rock crawler. Couldn't
Yeah,
quite
he had to
get it
downsize
hinged
a
in the
little
right
bit.
way. Yeah.
But you made an interesting point, Terry. Just reminded me that I would almost never have tried sailboats if somebody hadn't given me one back way back when I worked at a hobby shop. One of the other guys that worked there had this little sailboat. He said, "Hey, you want this little sailboat?" It was little. I don't know what it was. It was America's Yacht. That's what I remember, the old style. But it was just very small. It was only like maybe a foot long, the hull, and it came with a little transmitter that had a range of like 2 feet. But it was one of those things like, oh, okay, sure, I'll try it. And I ended up liking it a lot more than I should have. And after that, I ended up getting more sailboats after that. So it's funny. If you haven't tried a sailboat, give it a try. They're one of those things that's easy to do, but hard to master, I guess you could say, in a sense.
Yeah. And there's definitely different levels of performance and off-the-shelf sailboats.
Yeah.
So the Dragon Force spoils people right away. That's the hook.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they're so popular, because they're easy to sail, they're fast.
It's got to be,
maneuverable.
yeah. Yeah.
Versus my catamaran, which is it's totally opposite. You try to jib, turn around, and it just stops dead.
So, all right, so that was my story of what went on up here.
Let's hold on. Let's go back, since some people may not know where you can get.
See, it says Dragonflight right there.
Yeah, I believe you.
Oh, what are
Dragon
those?
Force
Those are
right there.
spaceships. No, mine says Dragonflight.
I know, but this says Dragon Force.
I think the Dragon Force is a 65 and Dragonflight is a 95. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right, what's this hydrofoil thing?
Yeah, that little spaceship, little fighter. Look at that. Wow, I've never seen those.
Well, let's
Is
find
it
out.
scrolling
And
on
then,
you?
then go to the video.
Well, I thought I clicked on it.
We're looking at sailboats here. Dragon
It's
Force.
not letting me click on it.
It's like trying to get my
Clicking
grandmother
all
to-
over the place.
How about RC boat at the top? Just use the pull down.
All right, this is compelling podcast content here.
Oh, it's not in there. That's weird. Oh, speedboat. There you go. Yeah, there you are. Oh, they are like a hydrofoils or something.
Yeah.
Racebird Light E1. Look at that.
And a little flex shaft. All right,
This
so
should have
anybody
been. This
out
should have been
there-
our new product.
Oh, I gotta get one of those.
Okay, so let me go back to where I was trying to take us, and then Fitz can drool all over his microphone. If you
Happy
go to
little
Joy's
accident.
Way, stop. My turn. For those listening or watching, joysway-hobby.com. And now you can go, Terry.
I just said we had a happy little accident. That's all. I'll go back to my cave.
So
These look
different
like
colors.
Those are CAD drawings, though. I wonder if there's actual product
That
existing.
looks like an actual boat right there. That's
You
side
think?
view. Yeah, looks like actual.
So
For a
if
flex
anybody
shaft?
out there has put their hands on a Joy's Way hydrofoil, let us know. We're interested.
So they're
Especially
520
to
run.
millimeters, a couple feet long.
A couple feet long.
Wait,
No,
250 millimeters, 10 inch. No, not that. Maybe no.
540,
that's not a couple
545
feet.
millimeters.
It's like 18 inches or something like that.
You're tiny.
Yeah, they're not very big, but that's neat. They have a regular hull, and then they have these, looks like sort of hydrofoils on the
So it's-
drive and in the middle.
21 and a half inches,
Okay, yeah.
which not a tiny boat.
No, it's a little bigger than you think. They look like little spaceship, little fighter ships or something.
Yep.
That is neat. I wonder how they work, because the foils are really far back on the hull. That's interesting.
All right. And then let's move on while Fitz sends a letter to the Joy's Way marketing department.
Okay,
Right.
let's hold on. We gotta make sure we apologize to Fitz. It does say Dragonflight 95.
You were right.
See, I'm not
Yeah.
crazy.
You were
So
right. I
here's
was wrong.
This photo here, if you can see close enough, I mean it's not really helping, but there's a 65 next to a 95, so you can see the size differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look identical other than just the sizes. One's big, one's smaller.
Did you buy yours new or used?
Mine's used, but it doesn't look like it's used very much.
Okay.
But yeah, and there's different versions of them, and it's hard to keep track of all the different things. But I was just happy to get one for a good price.
Yeah.
And so
All right.
it needs a little TLC. I got something ordered. Hopefully I can get it running again. I can put a receiver in it.
Yeah.
But it's just very, very minor.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.
Things. And we're ready to run. And I found some guys that race them. So if I want to try racing, there's a local group here. If I can remember the damn rules. You ever read the racing rules for these sailboats?
No.
It's like you can't pass on a right except it's a second Tuesday and a full moon, and then you can.
My first and only race with my friend Chuck, I had some guy yelling at me, and I was not moving more than I was moving less than a snail speed, and he was just irate as can be. He's like, "You can't do that! Don't you know on a race? I'm calling him foul." He was like demanding for me to be lashed, and hung up and drawn and quartered. I mean, it was just frustrating. I had no joy in that whatsoever. So it's just not for me. I know Steve does it, and he's worked his way up into the ranks, but I don't like that kind of competition.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, because see, if I was at Terry's flotilla of mayhem and like he hit my boat, I would have pushed him in. Because I know he did it on purpose just to make me mad.
Yeah. Faux show. All right. So before everybody has gone overboard because of all this boat talk, let's move on to some stuff that you guys did in Florida.
Back to airplanes. So Lee, you've been quiet. You want to take this? Take the reins on the
What's in Florida?
Lord.
Did we do something in Florida?
Disneyland, Disney World.
Oh, that's right. Fitz and I went to Disneyland. I will share the slideshow.
Deland, like Deplane. Look, pause, Deland.
That one's not doing it right. Let me see if I think I
whatever.
shared the
Edit.
window. Well, just so I get a full. There we go. So I can get a full screen.
Gotcha.
So we mentioned to you guys on the previous podcast and on several posts on Facebook that Fitz and I went to Deland, Florida for Jets Over Deland. This is a return event at the Deland Radio Control Club. They used to hold it there back in the 80s for several years, over 20 years until the early 2000s, and they stopped the event. I think it was because of a minor mishap, but don't quote me on that. And so they haven't been doing the event. So I hear. So something happened where the event was canceled. Oh, what? Excuse me, the man in the back. I just started the slideshow, and you have to say something.
Yeah, if it was the 80s, that would have been glow-ducted fans.
Yeah, and
No, I just.
yeah, it was glow ducted fans until the early 2000s, right?
Yeah. All right. Carry on. I'm just getting it right in my head.
Okay. So they haven't had the event for a long time, 24 years, I guess, or around 20 years.
Or late 90s.
So it's brought back. I think the key here is after Top Gun and Florida Jets were no more. I think this brought some people wanting to get back to Florida and fly jets again. So this was just a smart idea. And as the president, Michael Ducati, told me, he's like, we pretty much started it, so we wanted to bring it back, and hopefully it'll, bring it up to the levels that Florida Jets and Top Gun has been. So I would say it was not too bad. I mean, you can look from this photo, the flight line all the way from the, I say this is the south end, looking north-ish. I guess I forgot this thing has an angle to it. But I think over 60 pilots were registered. Not all of them showed up. I'm not sure why. But boy, there were a lot of planes though. And so just thinking about how big these are, there sure were a lot of jets for only 60-ish pilots, if it was just that many. So,
really? Wow,
and lots of trailers and lots of vendors that were out there. So BVM was out there, Carf Models was out there. If you guys had a chance to see the video we did for the AMA, which is on a Facebook page, I'll show you the link in a second. Fitz was kind enough to do a walk through the flight line and talk to some people, and he interviewed a young lady from Carf Models, the daughter, I guess, of the president of Carf Models. Is his name Carf? I don't remember how the name came along. Do you?
Carf?
Yeah, is that
I think it's composite. Name? I thought the C was composite.
I had no idea. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's an acronym, I believe.
It's an acronym. Okay. Yeah. So, I don't, if you don't have one, you don't have the money to even ask about Carf Models, I just move on. It's like I see them and I go, hey, that's really nice. And I walk on. What do you got for $50?
Yeah, really. It's one of those ones that if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it almost.
Not going to happen for me.
Right. But I watched it and it was interesting. I learned some stuff I didn't know about those jets. And
oh, yeah, they're beautiful. They're fantastic.
Yeah. And
speaking
also,
of which.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, speaking of, this is their newest addition to the Carf model line, the F4 Phantom.
They said this was a
I'm sorry, go ahead. You knew more about it than I did. You interviewed him.
Yeah, so, well, from what I remember, they said this was, like you said, a new model, and they were flying, I guess, the pre-production version, if I remember correctly. So this is, with, I guess, very few tweaks, they'll be ready to produce. This one came straight from the factory, and what's neat is that apparently they can do custom paint jobs. So if you want something very custom or something different, just tell them, and they will paint it up for you. And this had a lot of details. It had panel line details, full cockpit details. You see all the weapon stores on it. Airbrush, yeah. So yeah, if you throw them enough money, they'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Again, something I can't do, so I'm way out of my.
And I think it had twin 280s, something like that in it. turbines.
And that
yeah,
number
it was a big mother.
The number
It's
is newtons of thrust?
Newtons of thrust, correct.
Okay.
So that's pretty big. When you start getting above 200, you start to get some pretty large models.
All right. Yeah, it's
There's
like plastic model detail.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah.
amazing.
Look at they simulated discoloring of the metal behind it. Oh, it had lighted rings too, afterburner rings.
This was the youngest kid flying who had a turbine waiver. And this, I'm interjecting my own opinion. The opinion of Lee Ray does not reflect the opinion of any company he works for or his friends or family. But this kid's 6 years old with a turbine waiver. He's very talented. Give him that. He was flying up a storm, flew great. But here's my caveat. I'm not sure I shared this with Fitz, but if you crash and you're 6 years old and you have to go to daddy to say, hey, can you talk to the guys whose car I hit and figure it out, and you can't do it, if you're not the kid who could, do all the paperwork and so forth, I think you're too young to be flying a turbine waiver. That's just me. I think, this kid's flying a 6, I don't know how much that, it wasn't a big jet. This one right here, the one at the top
That's
of the
still not
screen.
cheap jet. I mean, you're probably talking,
No kidding.
$5,000-$6,000
And again,
easy.
I'm not criticizing the kid's pilot skills. They were amazing. He, took off, landed, pattern, whatever. Damn, 6 years old though. Now I'm looking at your face, Terry, and I can't quite read it, but what is that smirk you're putting on your face?
You don't have to read it. I'll tell you. I don't agree with you because kids can do damage with baseballs or their bicycles. And I don't know, as the parent, you accept responsibility for whatever damage they might cause and you go with it. If the parents are comfortable with them flying this jet and whatever potential damage it could cause, then go for it.
Okay, we'll have to agree to disagree. I think it's way too young.
All right. Fitz, you want to be the tiebreaker?
I'm abstaining. I'm agnostic on this.
Fine.
That's why we have lawyers, right?
Oh, yeah. They'll make it better.
This pink L-39 was flown by a lovely lady. I forgot her name. Vanessa? No, not Vanessa.
Watch the
Princess
video.
Karf. We'll call her Princess Karf because she's the daughter of the owner of Karf Models, and she has only flown turbine jets. We were talking to her, and she goes, "Oh yeah, my first jet is over there. It's the other turbine. Like my first model, first jet, her first model ever that she's ever flown." Yeah. And he's like, "Wow, she's she was 16, I think, 16 or 17 years old. Very nice young lady, and flew very nice, very well. And that's all the way over from Germany. Well, yeah." So it was pretty neat to see who showed up, and it was very another fairly large model. She said it was a custom paint scheme. It was the only one they painted like that. Oh, back to you, Lee.
Oh, well, I'm just going through the gallery of all the large jets. That Navy jet there, that was even bigger than this Rebel. I mean, I don't know if you can quite. I mean, the guy is pretty far back in the background there, but that one was big. I mean, I think the height of it was bigger than the F4.
What was funny though was it landed like at trainer speed. It just floated in.
It weighed nothing. In fact, I'm sure there's a little inlet right here where you put the helium.
Yeah,
and then when it touched down, he just put a sandbag on it to keep it from floating away. Because it flew like it weighed nothing.
So is it mostly sport jets there? He says it's a T-33.
Yeah. I mean,
it was a good mix.
It was a good mix, but yeah, most of them. I would say most of them were.
Yeah, maybe a slight majority, maybe 55, 60% were sport jets. Now, I have to say, these guys were really good pilots. They were flying a stink out of these planes. It was really, really nice, smooth, aggressive flying, but none of it looked dangerous. They were just really, you could tell they really knew what they were doing and really comfortable flying around. Except that one guy kind of clipped a tree.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I saw a lot of jets that were being set up and worked on, but a lot of them didn't fly.
Oh.
And I'm not trying to criticize it, but I don't think I ever saw that L-39 fly. Did you?
I saw the pink one fly. I think that one flew later in the day.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it did flew later in the day.
There were way more under the tents that people were working on. There was a couple that I didn't see.
But you're right. There was a turboprop like P-51 looking thing that I didn't see fly. There's some EDFs.
I was going to say EDFs as well.
Yeah, so I mentioned in my video too that
22.
this had a nice mix of both turbines and EDFs, and there was quite a bit of EDF action, and they all seemed to get along just fine. There didn't seem to be any angst or any type of snobbishness or anything like that. It just you see a turbine would fly up, and then the little EDF would pop up and fly around, and a lot of the guys were flying those EDFs just as well as they were flying the turbines. There was a lot of aggressive aerobatics and zipping around, all types. So it brought a tear to my eye that both electrics and turbines were getting along, arm in arm, mano y mano. Let's just say it, especially for me, because I will get into it, but I had a minor incident flying my EDF at a jet meet once, and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But it was some years ago, so in a different place. But so I just want to point that out, that whoever's running the event, thanks for being accommodating for both electron burners and kerosene burners.
Yeah, the club did a great job. What is this?
F-100.
That's the 100?
Yeah, but this one didn't fly. I don't remember
That
seeing
one
this
didn't
one
fly then. God, for some reason, that looks a little different.
At least I didn't see it fly. Maybe it did when you were there.
Yeah, those Matrix. I want to say it was one of the Matrix that hit the tree. Do you remember?
Don't remember.
Not one of those, but there's I think another one. But there are a variety of planes. This one flew.
Maybe that's the other F-100 I was thinking of.
I have some pretty pictures of that.
Yeah, the Viper.
Viper jet.
Bunch of Vipers there.
But that's Max flying the F4, and parachutist right here. And I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in. You probably can't see it on the screen there, but that's a parachutist, and they were all over the sky. That was the thing. There must have been 3 drop planes, and as soon as one took off, the other 2 were packing, and it was just constant skydivers in the sky.
Full scale. Skydivers. Like not RC, but people jumping out of
people. Yeah. At one point, one of the Skydiver planes came really close.
And
they were not supposed to be that close.
Yeah.
F4 inverted pass.
Doing an inverted pass. He flew it really well. It's not a speed demon, but it looked like it flew really nicely. Just a good, honest flying model. It's so big.
Did you see this Saber fly?
I don't remember. Because there's a couple different Sabers that flew. I saw fly.
Paint scheme.
Yeah, the Canadian. Is that Canadian?
Is that what it is?
No,
I don't think so.
Something else. Sorry. Yeah, those flames make it go faster.
Yeah, that's a Romulan paint scheme.
I should note the F-22 in the back too was really, really nice. It had working weapons bays and that kind of stuff. There's a black F-16.
Jet vectoring. Yeah, I was also at jet vectoring. So.
And vectoring was really nice. Nice.
This guy flew real well.
Yeah.
F-16. Look at cockpit.
Black F-16 that flew. Yeah. Very nice. It's really good cockpit detail. There was a guy selling 3D printed bus. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So if I can zoom in, you can see the guy had the doors that would open and close. The bomb bay doors.
Bomb bay and side missile bays.
Yeah, missile bays, yeah.
Yeah. That was really nice. It's cool to see that.
There's some grandstands there for people. Now, this was like Friday. I think this was Friday, so not many people were there. But Saturday, there were a lot of families out there enjoying the show.
Cool.
So
they had signs out in the street, Guy Jen.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lee. I'm sorry.
It's just the Carf model pilots that are right there.
Oh, yeah.
Archie's,
they all had matching shirts. There's a...
didn't this Hawk fly?
I think it did, yes.
Yeah. But,
don't remember the F4, though.
I don't remember. I don't remember the F4 flying either.
Yeah.
That blue one. But yeah, righty. Now, Fitz like this one. When we did the walkthrough, he was admiring this very odd intake. I mean,
see the honeycombs on the intake?
Honeycomb intake, yeah.
That's kind of interesting. Kinetics. So there's another plane. I don't have a picture of it. It's called the BDX. And I noticed that after I was telling me, I said, it looks a lot like a BD5 that's been kind of tweaked and stretched. And I saw the name BDX. Like, aha! Maybe I'm not so wrong after all.
So is it like a fantasy design?
Think a BD5. Think of a BD5, but instead of the exhaust, being near the top, it's lowered more toward the center line.
So
and the nose is what?
Here's how I describe it. Take a BD5, okay, stretch it and italicize it.
Yeah.
because everything kind of has a little lean to it when you look at it from the side now. You know, the rudder goes back at more of an angle. The nose dives down. So yeah, but it's very pretty.
Italicized.
It was
Oh,
on
they're
the
very nice
cover.
looking.
It was on the cover of one of our pages.
There's 2 or 3 of them out there. They're very colorful paint schemes. Oh, the F4, you can see the Fokker triplane. It had what's his name? The Red Baron, von Richthofen. Manfred von Richthofen names on it, and the motive. Apparently it's built after a real F4 that was done in commemorative of the 70th anniversary of the German Air Force. What's the German? What do you call the German Air Force? Not the Aeroflot. The
Luftwaffe?
Luftwaffe. Thank you. I can't believe I forgot the name. So that was kind of a neat, kind of a snazzy thing.
Yeah.
That kid in the middle, I think Lee, didn't he win one of the best flights or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
All 3 of these young men were, Max is a little older, but both of these kids were flying together and having a good time. And yeah, I think he won a best of performance or entertainment. Just put on a heck of a show.
That's the kid I was telling you, Lee, that looked like he was trying to break his plane in the air.
Yes. Just
the way he was yeah. He was pulling negative G's, jerking that sucker around, but he put on a good show.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a really nice day. The weather was pretty nice, more or less right down the runway, although it changed direction a couple times, but both times it was pretty much down the runway.
No, it was crosswind. What are you talking about?
Not much of a crosswind. A little bit, but not much.
What party were you at? It was crosswind almost all the time.
No. But it was a couple times you'd take off one direction and the wind changed in the middle of the air. It's like, it was crosswind.
It was crosswind. Yes, Terry.
Are those thrust deflectors on the
just
ground?
going to say, yes, they are. They had a couple of different thrust deflectors on the ground for startup, so that I don't know if they were nailed to the cement or something because they didn't move, but they were nice to have them there as you started up, and so you didn't get debris and stuff blown in your face.
Yeah,
it was pretty nice. Also, the flight boss had a megaphone, to announce takeoff and landings and stuff, which was nice. You could hear him over the jet sound and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're pretty well organized. And that's a nice shot of a good lineup on one side of the field. This is just one side, too, by the way, I think.
Yeah, going all the way down to the full-scale airport down there.
Yeah.
And isn't there, is that it right there? You can't tell. Wasn't there a C-47 on display?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Did you guys find the F-14 right outside the gates?
No, I think because we came in the back
route.
All right.
There's a young lady flying the pink L-39. EDF.
I'm just going to go through these pretty quickly. These are just some aerial shots that I took during the day.
Yeah. Well, maybe it did fly.
This is the F-18.
Yeah, we were talking about F-15 didn't fly. Maybe it was a different one. And the sport jet, I don't know what it is. Oh, must be an EDF.
Some mishaps, yeah. So that's
like
Archie
MiG,
Stafford's MiG
17.
17, yeah.
I think MiG 17. Yeah.
And
it was the
some good flying planes.
Yeah, some really nice stuff. Yeah, there's the patriotic. Several young kids, quite a few young kids flying these things.
See the Panda.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Panda in the cockpit. Yeah. Angry Panda. Diablo.
Well, you guys a few episodes ago were asking about Aero Panda, and aren't they like a dealer for jet stuff?
Oh, maybe that was him.
See, I'm talking out of my butt because I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe Belgian Air Force, Rebels.
This is also
16.
Archie's F-100.
There's one of the big F-100s. Oh, a Bandit. I didn't notice that was there. That's snazzy.
Yeah, I think it flew really well. I thought this kid also, the younger kid earlier with the sunglasses, he was flying this one. He did real well.
There's a 22 again. It was just really entertaining to watch these guys fly. It was really, really impressive.
So I have a video. I'm not going to show it right now. Y'all can go to, well, first off, you can go watch the whole video on AMA's Facebook page. And I think I also posted it on their YouTube channel. But I think I put this on my Rayviation page. I think it was this plane that went through the trees. And I had just turned my camera and caught him going through the trees. And then he flew. You saw limbs come down. He kept flying. But when he landed, there was a pine branch sticking in his leading edge. And he flew for another 2 minutes with that thing in that leading edge. I mean, it was probably 3 inches back, and it was just still sticking out. And it flew fine.
He's going to enjoy that flight.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it was that guy.
I guess at some point we should mention the other incident.
Oh, yeah. I have a video up on, I think I put, do I have it here? Is it on RC Roundtable? Let's see, latest.
All right. Well, while you're looking, I looked up Aeropanda. They're a dealer that's located in Melbourne, Florida, which is just a little bit down I-95 from where you guys were.
Huh.
Looks like they do jets and helicopters and other things. So
Okay.
that's the Panda character you saw in that canopy.
Nice shot of the L-39 and the parachute in the back. Like I said, they were out all day everywhere. It was a lot of people jumping out of perfectly good airplanes that day.
So I'm going to, I think I can do
Here
this.
we
but
go.
I turned the volume up, but if you watch here, this says 3 scenes, but you see the plane kind of clip the tree there. I'll go back and zoom in. You see it? Clip the tree that's coming down? Now watch.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
He just trimmed the top of the tree off.
And if you still look, though, oh, I don't know, but see if I can pause it right here. You can't see it there. Well, anyway, this right here, if you could see, right in that area right there, you can see the crack where the branch is sticking out of.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
it's
I would
pretty
say they're lucky they didn't ingest a bunch of stuff and kill the engine.
Well, the engines have screens on them, so probably
Okay,
tough
good
to do
point.
that.
Yeah. But still, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was closer than Lee. I was at the other end, the closer end when it happened. Talking to the guys, I'm like, what the?
Man. All right, so you guys were talking about maybe doing some flying. When you were there, did you do any flying?
No.
We did not.
That's
Negative
a
on the flying.
So
Oh, there it is.
speaking
This
of,
is the other incident that Fitz wanted to talk about.
okay, was this a
We
demo?
were
or
right
just
up front.
a flight?
This was a demo. I think this was a demo from Company Pilots.
Okay. Oh,
Really?
you posted this already. Yeah.
And he got a little too close to the ground.
Needed a little bit more right rudder.
Yeah.
Man.
Just a touch.
But
It
I was
does his
right
neat little
there.
Yeah, you got it. It does a
Yeah.
little snap roll when he hits. For those listening, we have a jet doing a high-speed knife edge pass that got a little too low to the ground and clipped the left wing. And it hits the wing, then the nose, does this weird kind of stop-snap roll thing, and then hits the ground again, and it's in like several large pieces on the ground.
Yeah.
Now,
Nice
I am
camera
going to do a
work, Lee.
shout out here because you will see my son right after this who came up to me and said, "Should I get a fire extinguisher?" I said, "Yeah." And so Austin goes out there with the fire extinguisher just in case. You know, he's a member of
Yeah.
Deland RC. So he helped them load half the plane, and this other guy was there just having a good time. I was like, "Yeah, that was great." It's like, you see that? That was awesome.
Yeah, dude, radical.
That
so, yeah.
F4 is big.
It's huge.
We
And,
told ya.
I'm not going to show you the whole video because, we can keep talking about it. But guys, just go to the Academy of Model Aeronautics YouTube channel and look up the 2024 Jets Over Deland video. It's about 16 minutes long, but I'll tell you, it's a pretty good highlight reel. There's no talking
yes.
over it, no music. It's just everything that, raw that I videotaped while I was out there. And
Note the
hope to
moving
give you guys
canopies.
yeah, it was amazing how the canopies went up there. By the way, this is the second takeoff run. He got to the end of the runway for the demo flight, and he just shut things down. And he said he didn't like the sound of the second engine, or something didn't look right in the second engine. So he went back, checked it again, and so then he came back out and flight. So he's very, very safety minded. So kudos to him for making sure everything was safe before he took off.
Well,
Yeah.
safety, I assume it's a demo ship, and I assume, I'm just going to throw a number out there, $50,000? Any idea?
Probably not that much, but probably in
You
the
don't
20s.
Okay.
I say 20s or 30s. I'm
right.
just rough guessing based on other models I've seen like that.
Yeah. So I'm sure there are a variety of reasons why he was cautious with that.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah. I mean, you got the
impressive.
price of a car
Yeah.
based
Yeah,
on
now,
our RF link.
add to that the cost to ship it from Thailand to Deland.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they ship directly overseas.
And then to Germany from there, I presume.
Yeah, back.
Yeah. All right. So did you guys do any other fun stuff while you were in the Sunshine State?
Fitz, you went back to Embry-Riddle, your old stomping grounds. I saw Austin. We hung out with him, had dinner with Fitz after Saturday's show, and we did not stay in the same place. My wife picked out a pretty nice hotel on the beach in Daytona, so we got to enjoy sunrise and coffee. And I will say the weather wasn't great when we woke up Sunday to get ready to leave. The winds were rapping up on a window, just beating us. And we decided to go check a look at the beach, and the hotel a couple streets down, their plastic roof came off. I got that on video. I was right there like, that sucker's coming off, and sure enough, whack. So wasn't great, beach walking weather, but we had a good time, needed a break. And again, we didn't get to fly, as you mentioned. I was kind of mad at my buddy Andy for not bringing some stuff for us to fly, but I'll be honest with you, we were so busy, talking with people and recording both video and photos that I was never frustrated about not flying. I just had a good time.
All right.
I've never been to a jet only event.
Okay.
So
Really? That surprises me.
Well, normally I just go to complete fun flies, and it's weird because there is that jet event at Bomber Field. They have a jet event every year. I've just never had a desire to go. I think it's good. I had to go say it's back to money. It's like, it's just stuff I can't afford. And I don't know.
Still fun to watch.
Maybe. I mean,
you just said it was.
It is. And yes, I had a good time, and maybe I'll go see some more,
All right. Now,
Damn, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would love to get my hands on one, and maybe when Fitz, gets his turbine waiver with his F-16, he'll like, hey, you want to fly it for a second? And I'll say, yeah, just so I can say I did.
Yeah, let's try it.
So, Fitz, you visited Graves while you were there.
Yes, I did.
Tell us about that.
Oh, shoot. I didn't load any pictures. Sorry about that. Well, one of the things I had to do when I'm there is visit Graves. I used to visit it fairly often. Graves Hobby Shop in Orlando, right off Orange Blossom Trail. And the funny thing is, it's like literally 2 or 3 miles away from where I was staying. So it was a really easy trip to get there. And the place was pretty much as I remembered it. It's if you've never been there, so I don't have any pictures. I'm sorry, I should have brought some pictures.
Well, I have a question. So I don't think I've ever been to Graves, but when I was a kid growing up in that part of Florida, Orange Blossom Trail had a reputation for being the seedy part of town. Is that still the case?
I think certain parts of it still are.
Okay.
But where they're located, it didn't look like that part. But
Okay.
the trail is really long too, though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's like saying Highway 6 has a CD part, but here in Houston, and Highway 6 is 30 miles long. But yeah, I think there was one place we were driving around at night. We went to a couple of places. And I swear I saw a couple of ladies that were offering services, but I wasn't sure if that was a trail or not. But so yeah, I'm sure there's some parts. I actually ended up going to a couple of different hobbies, 3 or 4 different hobby shops, as a matter of fact. I went to Colonial Photo and Hobby, which is mainly plastic models. I went to another hobby shop, mainly RC cars, but it had a really cool Japanese warbird hanging from the ceiling. But Graves is the place to go. If you're in Orlando, you at least go to Graves. It's neat because it's its own standalone building, so it's a fairly large hobby shop. It's actually quite big inside, and it's just got everything. There's a huge section just for RC cars, a big section for helicopters, a giant section for model airplane supplies. They have kits. They still have a whole bunch of kits. There was one that I was really tempted to take home with me, like the old school fashioned buy a box of wood, make plane type kits. They had some stuff from our buddy, was it Mark Lannerman at Old School Model Works? They had a bunch of his kits, but they had a bunch of other stuff. And the guy told me that they often will buy out estates and whatnot and to resupply in their kits and things. They got a lot of stuff hanging from the ceiling. You see the picture there. You walk in and there's planes 2 or 3 layers or maybe more deep hanging from the ceiling that are on consignment. So you see all kinds of cool stuff hanging around. There's a nice mural on the front wall there. They have their own custom things. They have own labels for certain parts, drones. gliders, lots of little parts and niblets. If you're looking for it, there's a really good chance you're going to find it there. They have some plastic models, not a whole lot, but lots of for RC stuff. It is really an amazing shop. It's been there, I think, a long time, so they've had time to just really build up just a lot of stuff. Whether it's electric, glow, gas, you can see a lot of the planes on kits on the side, lots of planes hanging from the ceiling. It's always neat to go in there and just look up. You see the ceiling is just filled with aircraft.
Whose photos are these?
I don't know.
I just grabbed them from Yelp.
Oh, okay. Yelp and Google. Yeah, I did take some photos and some video there, but stupid me forgot to upload them before the show. And lots of tires, wheels, things, magazines. It's just and there's people in there in each specialization. You talk to the car guy, you talk to the airplane guy, you talk to the helicopter guy. A lot of stuff for it's boats. A lot of stuff for boats too. If you're into speedboats or sailboats or whatever. It was just neat to see all kinds of stuff. Some old stuff. I saw an ARF Dynaflight butterfly.
Oh,
did you know they made an ARF butterfly?
They made
does not come to mind.
They had one in their box, new in a box there. I said, they made an ARF version. So Graves, Graves hobby shop in Orlando. I bought things before when I was going to school there. I occasionally pop over there when I got a chance. Eclectic mix of people that ran the place. You've been there too, Terry, right? Or no?
I don't. I haven't been recently. I probably went when I was in my teens, but I don't remember.
Interesting. Well, buddies and I used to go to Orlando quite often. Roommates. There was other shops and stuff. We would go there and go things. So, and it was a really neat surplus shop. Can't remember the name, but it's got a UFO as their icon or little. They actually has the sign has a little UFO on it, a flying saucer kind of thing. It's a great little surplus shop for all kinds of weird and eclectic things. So I got around a little bit as I could to check out some stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy to check it out. I went to a place that would have been really dangerous if I was still going to Riddle. I don't know who did it, but I don't know if it's Riddle people or ex-Riddle students or not, but it's a mail order plastic model shop opened up literally like a couple miles down the street from Riddle that specializes in Japanese anime models. And so I went there for a visit. Yeah.
Anybody know where Fitz is? I do.
Oh man, I had to check that out. I came back with
Mail
something.
Order, but they have a storefront too.
They have a storefront. It's a little storefront.
Okay.
You have to know it's there because there was like no sign on the door. I was walking around, and the guy's like, "You got to go in that door." And so you go in, and they had a fairly decent sized front office that you can do with a bunch of models and stuff. But they have a huge warehouse. It's I think it's called USA Gundam Shop, if I remember correctly. It's actually pretty well known. I'd heard of them before, and they're basically within bicycle distance of Riddle, so it's a good thing. Yeah. And I can go on about how Riddle has changed so much since we were there. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was a great trip. Oh, I also got a chance to see an old friend down in Miami area, almost Miami. Boca Raton. Yeah, it was a bit of a drive.
Yeah, it's not close at all.
No, we drove down one night, came back the next morning, kind of thing.
Okay.
So it was still good to really catch up with somebody. It's back from when I lived in Connecticut. That's how far back they go.
Wow.
So I don't know what else to say. Did I miss anything, Lee? I think it was a nice event. Had a good time. It was nice to get away. I think I told you about coming back. I took the scenic route back to Houston.
On purpose?
Did I tell you about that?
No.
So I left really early Monday morning. I like the super red eye. Basically, get up 3 o'clock in the morning, drive to the airport, hand in the rental car. And so we get over close to Hobby Airport, is where I flew into, right out to South Houston. And we go in, and the pilot says, we're going to have to hold for a bit. There's some weather. People are doing missed approaches. And so we're going to hold a little bit, see if the weather clears up, we can land. And about maybe 20 minutes later, he's like, yeah, we're not going to be able to land. Everybody's doing missed approaches. So we're going to go detour over to Austin, head over there, refuel, and wait it out, and didn't come back. And so we had to go to Austin, sit there in the airplane for a little while they refueled. And then by the time we got back, then the weather had cleared enough. So it wasn't bad weather, it was just fog. It gets socked in by fog in the morning.
Okay.
And so the minimums were too low for instrument approaches, apparently.
Right. Huh. But then you never had to get off the plane.
No, didn't get the plane.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just got in. And, I forgot. I came back with a drone.
Okay.
I forgot to bring it in because I'm a dumbass. A USS Enterprise drone, those maybe Air Hogs or whatever made those toy kind of drones that look like different things, like the Millennium Falcon, but I have one that looks like the Starship Enterprise.
Now, nice.
That hopefully I could get running. It's new in the box, I think. Got from
right.
one of my family members. Said, "Hey, you want this?" I'm like, yeah. Especially since we're having an indoor fly-in, I think in a week or two here at Lone Star Flight Museum.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Bring that puppy out, see how it does.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So yeah, so it was good because I think it's been a good 10 years since I've been in Florida, so it was good to be back and see how things have changed. Of course, more traffic, highways have changed. Some stuff looked familiar. I'm driving, it's like I don't know where I am, but wait a minute, yes I do.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think we're done with Florida. I was going to ask
done.
you next about events coming up. You just answered that question, sort of. There's an indoor event.
There's a small indoor event. I think it's open to the public to observe, but I think it's just for our club to fly there at the Lone Star Flight Museum on the 23rd of November. If I remember correctly? Yeah, 23rd of November, Lone Star Flight Museum. It's having an indoor fly-in.
All right.
And there's a Pearl Harbor Memorial event is at Space City, Lee, I think? Yeah, Space City RC Club in Houston is having their annual Pearl Harbor event. This is neat. It's on a Thursday and Friday, December 7th. They're having it. 6th and 7th, December 6th and 7th. They have the Pearl Harbor. And it's mainly a warbird event, any size warbird that's generally themed for aircraft that flew in the Pacific War. It's totally free lunch, free to fly. It's really nice of them to do that, to open the club up for stuff. So if you're in the area, check them out. It's a nice, quaint little club to fly at.
All right. Is the Val gassed up?
Val is under the weather. I need to reconstruct the carburetor, and I haven't had a chance to do that. Val's under the weather. The Bearcat is under the weather. I have a little electric Hellcat.
All right.
Well, unfortunately, I have a conflict on December 7th. So I may not make it on that Saturday. I might try to do it on a Friday.
All right.
Take off work early or something like that. But Saturday, there's another event going on I'm going to. But yeah, I'm sure I got something like it. Or if I get to the Val in time, maybe. I don't know.
All right.
But anyways, I think that's it. I think that's it to the end of the year.
Lee? Swap meets, flying events?
What Fitz said. Nope. Probably just the Pearl Harbor event. Ryan wants to get... We had a problem with the B-25. I'd repaired the gear, and it was working, and then it had been sitting for about a week or two, and then he and I took it to Scobie, or we were planning to take it to Scobie, yesterday, and the darn left main won't come up. Won't work at all. And I troubleshooted it for a while, and it's like, I'm pretty sure the gear's gone bad, so he was disappointed. But that being said, we'll probably get his Zero fixed to take it to Pearl Harbor, and I'll bring a P-38.
Okay. A P-38? Which
Or two.
P-38?
Or three, I don't know. Probably bring the larger P-38, the Flightline RC.
Okay. Do you want to talk about your other one?
That's on my workbench?
That's the one.
Well, Fitz, I need you.
Uh-oh.
I called Fitz. No, uh-oh. It's all good. It's all good.
I didn't do it. Nobody saw you do it. Can't prove anything.
Let's see if I can pull up this window. Share screen window. There we go.
Want me to talk about a new airplane I got? Okay.
So I'm trying to finish up a Legend Models /VQ/Nexus P-38 Lightning. I've got this many years ago. You guys might be listening to it on the previous podcast. I'm making some progress, but this is not an ARF. It is a kit dressed up to look like an ARF because every time I do something, I have to take steps back or I have to redesign something. But the struggle I have now is the main gear doors. So stay with me for a second, Terry. Fitz
I'm with
has
you.
received my earful on what I'm struggling with, but these are the two doors for the main. Okay,
Yep.
for one main. Okay, looks pretty good, right? You know, top view, bottom view, you can see that. All right. But if you look closely, and I think I can zoom in here, okay, if I fit this flush to this side as they suggest to put a hinge, look how it curves. It curves with the fuselage, and this is also curved, so you get this gap. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't do that. If I go to the other side, it's even more predominant. See how it is. So
Yeah.
the way they have the instructions, and this is where it is now, with the way they have it in instructions, you put a hinge here, a nylon piano hinge here, a nylon piano hinge here. But if you do that and you try to close that door, it won't close.
Yeah.
Physics won't allow it. So I haven't even tried it, but that's what the drawing is. You know, drawing is build plane, have fun, fly safe, you know, and there's no way that'll work. So I called Fitz earlier and I told him I'd send him these photos, but this is a struggle for me to how to get this door to close because I can't just put one hinge here at this main joint. And I'm sure there's some physics and, you know, stuff to be described here. I don't have that. All I have is common sense that, sorry?
So a couple of thoughts while you're doing that. Why can you rotate it back so that it's the center section is the flat part and not align the front flat, if that makes sense?
Well, there's
know
this,
you're not
like I said, if you look here, see how the gap's here, it stops here and it goes out here.
So
That means I can only put one hinge right here.
So the way you're holding it, it's kind of like this. I'm exaggerating a lot. What if you rotated it down a little bit? So you may have a little bit of a gap in the front, a little bit of a gap in the rear, but the center section is mostly flat. And you can put two hinges in the somewhat near the center,
Well, that's
outer part of the center.
So in this photo here, that would make this flush and this flush, but you can see how much it's sticking up here.
No, move the arrow. See that? You have a little line there, vertical line.
Right here?
Looks like a mark. No, left. Stop. Right. No, right.
On the airplane, not the door.
On the airplane, on a fuselage. There's a vertical, that right there. So what if you moved it down so that it just barely touches that line, and then maybe where that cross member
that's
is?
this photo right here. See how I pushed it down? So now it's flush here.
Can you go in between that? Instead of only the front or only the back being flush, just the center section being flush.
Well, and then, that's that kind of photo.
Kind
But
of
you're
like
just saying
that.
roll it more left.
Yeah, a little bit more left, and just hinge it maybe 2 inches separation of the hinges, roughly. I'm just
Here and
guessing.
here.
Yeah,
So here and here.
or as far as you can get, but and leave the front and a gap in the front and rear, and just go with that.
Yeah.
I know we're engineering it live. Sorry about that, folks.
Well,
We can talk this offline.
We can, but I bring this up because I think it's important that we're supposed to be helping people with builds, and part of this could be thrown into RC rescue and understanding some of these hurdles you get if you get a kit and the instructions basically say stick something here and stick something there and good luck. I mean, I
good
knew
fun.
looking at it immediately this wouldn't work, and so I have to take a step back and go, what are my options? Well, one of the other, type of hinges you could do are the ones that what do they call them again? Fitz, what's the pivot arm?
Oh, offset hinges?
Like an offset hinge that you could put like the base here and have it come out and around here. And I did go back and look at a full-scale P-38. You and I were talking about it, and I was looking at it. And sure enough, when I was looking at the nose gear door more closely, you could see like 2 or 3 of the offset hinges were the same. But the one in the back where there was a huge gap had like a spring or a pivot to it. So when that door closed, it actually shaped differently. It wasn't just a simple fold like this. It was actually contracting and moving. So there is something to be said about a door like this that's not flat. And so that's just one of those, situations. Now, like on those cheap airplanes I had, there is one hinge, like the Banana Hobbies or the, was it not the Flightline? What's the one that made the Red Bull?
Stufenbiel.
No. What's the who made the Red Bull P-38, like the Banana Hobbies?
It wasn't
But there was
Flightline, was it, or something?
Was it? It wasn't Flightline. Was it Flightline?
FlightWorks.
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 Thank you,
Thank
Terry.
you. Okay.
Thank you. So in that case, it was a single hinge. You know? And with a spring that would just slap it shut, you know. So, and it was one door instead of two. So, you know, it's something that's easier like that. But anyway, that's let me just stop right there. That's the situation I'm dealing with right now. Is like this is how the door looks when it's open. It's not flush. You know, when you hold one side down, the other side pops up. You can't. It rolls. You know, with that. So if I go the other way, I think that's the last picture. Yeah. So I'm struggling with that. I'll finish there. I'd love to have this thing done. I really would like to fly it. In fact, Chris Wolf has a video on his channel, The RC Geek, where he's got a guy who's flying this particular, and again, VQ/Legend models, same plane. You know, it looks really nice. You know, I was like, man, I do want to fly that. And if I had to put a smile on my face, if I had to feel like I accomplished something, I did finish the wing. And so to finally get the wing completed, have the flaps, which by the way, here's my little, my joke about the flaps. I'll just do it this way. So these flaps have some incredible mechanics. And by the way, Fitz, I don't remember if you answered it, but Terry, what are the flaps that come out and go down? Those aren't Fowler. They're split flaps, but they go out and down.
I thought those were Fowler.
But Fowler isn't the whole flap. I think that's Fitz. A Fowler flap is if it's the whole surface that goes down, that's a Fowler. But if it's a split flap that comes down, you know, so you still have a top portion, do you know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, a split flap that goes down.
Okay.
When all the mechanics are said and done, after it's extended, it's that easy to push the darn thing down. It has no force whatsoever to, you know, restrict that plane in flight. And there's just too many moving parts and it just falls flat. It looks great when you taxi it, like, oh yeah, that's nice. But as soon as you get speed, they're just going to go right back up. Nothing's gonna change.
As long as they both go back up.
Well, there's 4.
Well, okay, even worse.
Yeah. So anyway, I got the plane together. I stood it upright. It's really tall. You know, I'm only 5'5", but you know, dang, that's a nice, long, tall wing. So, I mean, that gave me some hope that I'm getting close. And I finished the rudders today. And, you know, the elevators are going to be done after I get the booms attached. So everything's true and level. But the doors, yeah, that's just nuts. Oh, and by the way, you can appreciate this, Terry. And I should have brought the manual. This is, okay, wait. Pardon me while I do bring up the manual, because I do need to show you this page right here, or I think I'll pull up on VQ. The way they have these gears set is to use a spring and string. You tie a string across both doors, and so when the gear goes up, it pulls the doors closed. Yeah. And then when the gear comes down, it has a little spring. They say, you can use this from a ballpoint pen. It pushes the doors out.
That's not uncommon.
Oh, this is crazy.
Okay, so I looked it up. Apparently it's called a zap flap.
Thank you, Fitz.
I have never heard of that.
Neither have I. It literally looks like a split flap where it kind of pivots slightly. It extends a little bit, but it's still maintains a bit of a split flap look to it. Versus a Fowler, which can extend past the trailing edge.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but this is the instruction for the gear. You know?
Yeah, for the gear doors.
Yeah, the gear doors. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you can say put hinge here, but it can't with the way it's curved. And then here's does it show the string here, or is it further down? Yeah. Spring not include.
Spring not included.
Cotton thread not include.
Engineering not included.
Exactly. So I'm having a grand old time, and it shows you how the string looks. The string goes up with the gear, closes door, spring.
I never liked that.
Isn't that crazy?
Strings and springs, that's always so clunky to get to work.
But
so,
yeah,
Lee, I wonder if you do point hinges, that might work for you.
Pin hinges, you mean?
Yeah, whatever, pin hinges, point hinges.
I think the problem is when the door comes down, the ends are going to want to move because the centerpiece right here is touching the fuselage. I think they're going to want to be pushed in when the doors finally close. Because otherwise, if you put the pin right here with the gap there, the gap's going to stay. It won't allow the wood to get closer to the fuselage. And maybe all this chatter is you need to be here to see it in person. But I think this kind of just, again, guys, if you get instructions that just make it look this simple, pause.
Pause.
And think before you move on. All right, I'll leave the P38 bashing done there, but I'm hopeful.
All right, you'll figure it out.
I'll try, or Fitz will.
Consider it an enduring challenge.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Somehow we're coming up on 2 hours. Is there anything else that we want to talk about?
Fitz, did you say you had a new plane?
Oh yeah, real quick. It was the one we were flying yesterday, Lee.
All right.
The Diamond. This is the Rayolink D460, and Lee was gracious enough to join me yesterday.
Attempt
flying around.
to videotape it.
Attempt to videotape. Yeah, we can talk about that after. We videotaped it. Neat little plane. I mean, it's just Elevon only, but it's got decent power. Very quiet. Pretty aerobatic for what it is. Looks fairly durable. I mean, it's got this EPP foam that's really beat it. Long flight time, so it's something I'll be doing a quick video review on my channel. And I thought it was kind of neat. Somebody said it looked a lot like something that I think
Fly Zone.
Fly Zone something, right?
Was it called a Raze? R-A-Z-E?
Don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't really remember it. But it comes basically all together. It's just got a detachable magnetic rudder and a little hatch for the batteries, and that's it. And this one came with a radio.
E-Rays.
E-Rays, okay. So it'll be interesting. I wonder if it's the same size, if it's the same molds.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Anyway.
Same plane, new stickers.
Oh wow, it looks exactly the same, doesn't it? Except for the canopy, the hatch is a little bit different. So it may have been resuscitated, and it's available. You can find them on Amazon.
Well, that one has full-length Elevons.
So does this?
No, that's
the other one didn't?
Yours does. I don't think the other one does. Just
okay.
Looking at the colors.
I can see that it doesn't need it. This was pretty sensitive. I mean, it was okay, but I could tell for some people it might be a little bit on the sensitive side on some of the controls.
It looks like the old one has that too.
It does it? Okay, yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's neat hand launching. My first launch, I gave it a good shove. The second launch, I just let it go, and it flies right out of your hand.
Yeah. What's the span on yours?
I don't know.
This one's 18 inches.
That's about what this is. I would guess.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably the same thing recycled.
Yeah, because it looks like the same little winglets and stuff. So
yeah,
has an interesting hover mode.
Yeah, yeah. You can kind of get it into a hover, even though it doesn't have a working rudder, and just sort of gets behind the drag curve and just kind of
you need a string attached to it because it's more like a kite.
That's what it is. It looks like one of those stunt kites or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
cool.
Look for that in the future. And that's all I had. That's all I got to say for now.
Yeah, and I'll say when Fitz was out there, when we were videotaping that, I took Ryan out there and he flew his T-28 and his F-15, had a little mishap with his new F-15, I'm sad to say. Yeah, he dorked it on landing. It was windy, so he broke it, but we'll fix it. And I flew...
Which F-15 is this?
Well, he has 3. So this is one of the newer ones, the blue ones. This is the one that we got from Sparky.
Gotcha.
And so it's got some road rash now, and that's unfortunate. And Bo, it's nice that I get to say this to you. Thank you, Terry, for, I guess, making me see the light on the bind and fly or bind and switch mode for the F-15. Because you told me about it. I was like, I completely misread it in the manual. So I had Ryan with me. I said, Terry says there's a switch mode. And you do have to bind it a certain way to make it go to a switch. So you don't program it like a normal radio. And that's the interesting feature about this is like normally if you get a safe or bind and fly AS3X plane, it'll tell you if you have the DX8, then set this to gear and set this to aux and yada yada. So you do it on the radio. With this one, the F-15, you actually bind it a certain way, set your sticks in a certain position, flip a switch 5 times to say, this is the one I want to use, and then let it go. And that is so weird. I mean, I felt like I was doing a rain dance, and it worked. And he got it, flying, but unfortunately the landing didn't go so well.
And that was to have safe select. You were
Safe
initially
select.
you were under the impression that you had to either have safe on or off all the time.
Correct.
But you wanted to have safe on for launch, then turn it off to do crazy stuff, and then So all right, well I'm glad that worked out for you. Sort of.
And yeah, well, and I flew the E-flite Pitts 12, and I flew my Banana Hobbies just for fun P-38, and with the wind, boy, my wings were like curved. It's kind of, they have some flex to it, but it's fun. So, for $20, I can't complain.
Nope. All right. Well, you got something going on up there, Fitz?
Yeah, I just reminded myself I need to do something up there.
So, all right. Well, why don't you do something here and close us out?
All right, folks. Thanks, everybody, for hanging with us for this extra long edition of the RC Roundtable. Thanks, everybody, guys, for joining us and listening to our stories of adventure and excitement in the RC world. Remember, you can contact us at contact@rcroundtable.com. Send all email to Terry. Check us out on our social media stuff. We've got a Facebook page and we've got an Instagram and we've got a YouTube.
Do we have an Instagram account?
I think we have Instagram, don't we?
We do.
We do.
You do. And I posted the last episode like you told me to, boss.
You did. Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
So anyways, like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe so the algorithm favors us. And tell us how you like the show if you don't mind. We all like to hear from you. We get some really good emails and we read them all. So we may not talk about them all. We do read them all. And often we get some good stuff. Well, okay, Terry reads them all. And then if it's really good, then we get to see it.
He's our filter.
He's our filter.
I'm like, what was it, Coneheads? I'm the David Spade to, what was the guy's name? Dave Thomas? No, the guy who was never mind.
I don't remember.
Dan
I don't remember
Aykroyd?
the Coneheads.
No, never mind.
We are from France.
People who have seen Coneheads know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
All right, then, guys, any last words?
No.
I
No?
will
Okay.
say if you have Spotify, we are on Spotify. You can find us in the podcast.
Are we?
And we're also publishing the videos to Spotify too. So if you're at work or if you have the ability to listen and watch, then you can do so. On
Right,
the same
Spotify, all right.
platform.
Joe Rogan, watch yourself. We're coming. All right, guys. We'll see you later and see you next time.
All right. Cheers.
Please visit our website at rcroundtable.com. That's where you will find all of our podcast episodes. You can also find a little bit of background information about the show host and leave comments and suggestions about the show. There are links to a few of our favorite vendors and also links to our various social media accounts. Thank you for watching and listening.